Shalom and Chodesh Tov, happy new month. Today, Friday, we are celebrating Rosh Chodesh of Heshvan. Tomorrow we are reading Parashat Noah. There is a passage that I want to elaborate on. That is that until Noah, the human beings, Adam and his children, were not permitted to eat animals. They were obligatory vegetarian. However, after the flood and after Noah and his children were saved from the flood, he permitted them to eat meat. The pasuk says, "Kol remes asher ochai lachem yeh leochla, ki erek aseb natati lachem et kol." That I permitted you to eat animals like the vegetables. Period. However, it continues, but you can't eat blood. And it further goes, Dmכם לנפשתכם אדרש מיד כל חיי אדרשנו. The Rashi says, it means first, but your דמכם, your blood, and your soul I will seek, I will revenge, I will judge you on that. מיד דרשנו, מיד אדם, מיד איש חי ודרוש את נפש אדם, and we will, it means that that if somebody killed somebody beshogeg, by mistake or intentionally, he will have his own punishment according to the circumstances. Now, that I will going to seek and revenge your own blood. Rashi says, that you cannot commit suicide, and because it says דמכם לנפשתכם, your blood and your neshama, your soul. Rashi said that even though somebody did not kill himself by slaughtering or stabbing himself so blood is spilled, even with any kind of death, that Hashem is gonna seek punishment to him. And the Mefarshim said that this means that the person who commits suicide will be punished. And the reason is, the pasuk continued, the following pasuk, that because Hashem did the human being in the image of God, and we cannot dispense with that as we wish. Life is sanctified. So I would like to elaborate on that issue. Being a physician, it is, of course, it does strike a chord of importance in me. Now, it means here that if somebody kill himself, this is terrible avon, and some people say, although it is debated, that he does not have chalik la'olam haba. However, there is debate. If somebody has depression that he could not treat, maybe leniency. This is it will be decided in heavenly court. We cannot judge those people after what they did to themselves and to their families and friends. But however, there are some behaviors that, according to modern medical science, predictably cause decrease in the longevity of the human being. So I'd like to talk a few minutes about the factors that affect the longevity. And before we go further, I would like to mention that a lot of Mefarshim it says that the lifespan of the person is Hashem determine its potential. What is the maximum length that each one of us going to live on earth from the beginning, from birth? It is, however, it is up to the human being to try to live that maximum. And in Sidrat Mishpatim it says, it mispar yamecha amaleh, that it means that I will make you live your full life. So the person, and this is very logical, can determine his longevity. However, Hashem, if he does not take care of that, every Rosh Hashanah he will determine if somebody is to life or the other way. So what are factors that affect longevity? Few things. Number one, the gender. Women live a few years longer than men. The genetics have great determinants. There are families that they live longer, and it is in fact they identify genes that cause short life and long life. Number three, the prenatal and childhood disease that can affect it. The other thing is there are some, if marital status does cause longevity, because it abates the loneliness that somebody would feel when they come to an empty home. It is depressing. The socioeconomic status does have effect. Wealthy people or well-to-do people or comfortable people even would live longer. This is proven. Education, and probably this has something to do with the type of job and the type of people that they get associated with, and ethnicity, and of course we mentioned lifestyle and the medical technology. However, there are a couple of items that we should do. I elected to talk about only two things. Number one, the high blood pressure, and number two, cigarette smoking, nicotine. It is surprising that high blood pressure really kills more people than smoking, even though intuitively somebody would think otherwise. Why? Because because 1 out of 3 adult Americans do have high blood pressure. Also, 1 out of 3 adult American has pre-hypertension on the high side, but it didn't reach the criteria of high blood pressure. So that means that 2/3 of the adults do have either pre-hypertension or hypertension. And now there is, now with the medical community go by the recommendation of the Joint Committee number 8 on the definition of high blood pressure and its treatment. Basically, if somebody is above the age of 60, if his blood pressure is more than 150/90, he needs treatment until we bring it down. And if it does get brought down to 140/90, we don't need to change anything. Anyone less than the age of 60, the criteria is 140/90, not 150. So the systolic, the top one, is the criterion to do that. And why it is very important? Because the blood pressure, by definition, is the tension that the blood has on the blood vessels. And because there is tension, the blood vessels do have muscles, smooth muscle, that they contract. If it is constantly high, the blood pressure, they contract more and they become just like any other muscle in the body. It becomes thicker, and that interferes with the thickness and the flexibility and the elasticity of the blood vessels, which can affect the blood vessels of the heart and of the brain and in the periphery, in the legs. It is easy but not easy problem to treat, because a full 20% of the people don't know that they do have high blood pressure at all. This is number one. Number two, that only 55% of the people, their blood pressure is well controlled. They take medication, but still it is on the high side. So between both of them, you're talking about more than 50% of the people, 20 plus for the rest of the 45% that is not controlled, they still have high blood pressure, and it causes all the problem that we mentioned before. There are some races that they have more common high blood pressure. The highest one is in the black, and the least one is in the Mexicans and the other Hispanic. The white one, it is in the middle. And it does cause high blood, heart attack, cause stroke, congestive heart failure, and kidney disease. Failure of the kidney is very common in people who do hypertensive. So now, this is really important. It's easy to treat. Somebody has to go to the doctor on regular basis, once a year, if needed, and more important, if he gives him medication and he was diagnosed with high blood pressure and he has 33% chance to be hypertensive, or another 33% to be pre-hypertensive, that he has to watch his diet, what does he eat, lose weight, and maybe do exercise would help. It is debatable. But take medication would control that problem and saves a lot of life. Easy. Unlike the issue of the smoking, which is the next subject that I would like to talk to, and that is really highly addictive, and it is the biggest killer. 480,000 people in the United States die from smoking every year. We have 16 million people who live with disease that they are related to smoking. Now, the toll of the death of smoking is not as bad, because, as I mentioned before, that now, fortunately, it is only 70% of the adults do smoke, versus it was more than double about 30 years ago. So the United States is doing very good job that way, and we started to see it to affect the longevity. However, we were now affected by the epidemic of drug abuse that did affect to some extent the longevity of the human mix. Now, it is difficult because nicotine is addictive, and I see it in my practice. It's more difficult to treat than drug addiction, than alcoholism. As a matter of fact, there is a famous study where people were hospitalized and they give them patch, because the patients are not allowed to smoke while they are in the hospital. So they give them patch, and they ask them if you are intending on not smoking anymore. If they say yes, we are not going back to smoke, they follow them up for a few years. They found that 40% of them do start to smoke before they get home, from the time of they get discharged from the hospital to the home. 4% smoke, and within a year 70% go back to smoke, and after that the ratio is even higher. So it's very, very addictive. However, we have, fortunately, medication that can help. They are not very, very effective. We have three categories of medication. Number one, nicotine replacement therapy, meaning that nicotine is addictive. We'll give nicotine in a way that does not cause harm, like nicotine patch, like gum, like inhaler, Nicotrol, and among others. Or there is medication called Wellbutrin or bupropion that increase the dopamine in the brain, and that decrease the sensation, the craving to smoking. And there is Chantix, which works on the nicotine receptors, that it goes to them, and they are satisfied, and the craving will less. Both. Each one of these, the success rate is around 50%, no more. So the most important thing is for the youngster not to start to smoke. They estimate that every day 3,200 people start to smoke their first cigarette every single day, and out of them, full 2,100 they become habitual smokers. So the best thing is, best prevention is not to start. And I need to mention that smoking does not cause only lung cancer, although it is probably the most common. It does cause bladder cancer, tongue. Yesterday I had a patient who came to me because he had cancer in his tongue from smoking. He had to go through radiation and chemotherapy that really no one needs. It can cause esophagus cancer, stomach, colon, even blood cancer. It can be caused by that. So it is really, it's nasty habit, but it is difficult to treat, but it is treatable. Maybe now that there is now question that I'm sure a lot of smokers and family of those who smoke ask themselves, if vaping safer? In a nutshell, probably it is safer, because the smoking, the nicotine by itself, although it is addictive, does not cause major heart problem. So it does cause vasoconstriction. The blood vessels will become smaller and they can be harmful. However, by itself, what is the problem is the carcinogens, those materials that cause cancer, that they are associated with combustion, with the burning of the cigarette, that they are of major problem. Vaping will avoid that. So if somebody cannot quit smoking under any circumstance, vaping would be a reasonable choice if he cannot do it. However, there is public health issue, and that is that lately a lot of high school students, they vape. And is that considered a gate to go to real smoking or even other drugs? The jury is still out because it's becoming more popular. However, they estimate that by 2020 or 2025, according to what statistics you read, that the vaping will be more common than cigarette smoking. So much so that the cigarette company jumped already to the bandwagon, and they are advertising it, and that they know that people are going into that direction, the consumers, and they are following them. So from here we can see that it is mitzvah min Torah to preserve somebody's life. It is mentioned here, probably the closest one, the closest mitzvah min Torah is ve'asita ma'akeh legagecha, that according to Sefer HaChanukah, that somebody has to preserve his life and not rely on nes. And so there is mitzvah ta'aseh to be careful, to have fence around the roof, and don't spill blood. So there is mitzvah and lo ta'aseh. And Hakam Obadiah Yosef did say that those who smoke, يعني حيابين مكات مردود, which means malkut, but it is from the Rabbanan. So it is really, it is a mitzvah to preserve somebody's life. It is, it will probably give for those who live Torah life to consider that when I do go to when I take care of myself, I am doing mitzvah. I'm doing mitzvah Hashem, because after all, after 120 years, we will be asked that how about the life that you did not live fully as Hashem determined to you, because you chose to live unhealthful lifestyle. We don't have somebody will not have good answers. So we hope that we'll take that to heart. In the meantime, I wish you the beracha that Hashem blessed Noah. He told them, Peru, Urbu, Milut Ares, may you multiply and fill the earth. We are a blessing to the world. We need to multiply, because through us the more blessing will come into the world. I wish you Shabbat Shalom and Chodesh Tov. Shabbat Shalom.